Is David Moyes the king of Europe? Is Mohamed Kudus the next big thing at West Ham? Would you fancy a cheeky meal in the comfort of the hospitality at the London Stadium whilst watching your beloved West Ham push for European glory? Would you love to have a signed frame top by our Ghanaian star? If you've answered yes to all of those questions, then you will want to listen on and hear what we have got to say from you, because football prizes are back in connection with the West Ham Network. Football prizes gives you the chance to win the very best prizes the beautiful game has to offer, from hospitality tickets to the matchday experiences to rare and unique signed memorabilia. Football prizes has it all. Now, new competitions are uploaded to the site every single week, with all draws conducted live on the Football Prizes official Facebook page. Now, people may ask, how do you play? Well, you go onto their website and you look for the prize that's right for you. You look for your team and you see what prizes are available. If you want to enter the competition, then you have to see what number you would like to choose from the tickets that are left available. And before getting through to the payment method, you have to answer a football-related question to advance to the payment screen. You then can pay via all the options: debit, credit card, Apple Pay, or Football Prizes e-wallet to enter the competitions. And if you do win by checking out their live draw on their Facebook page every single week, they will, of course, send the item to you in person to your door. There will be no expense for you. So if you want to get involved with Football Prizes and enter to be in with a chance to win some instant prizes and the big prize at the end of the week, then get involved. And this week's very exciting prize for Football Prizes is 2 star players from West Ham. The main prize of a Jared Bowen signed and framed 23-24 West Ham home shirt, which will be won for just the ticket cost of £3.95. On top of that, this particular competition also features 13 instant win prizes, including a signed shirt from Mickey Antonio. So go across, check out the link in the comments, and you'll get a chance to go and enter the Football Prizes competition. So anyway, we are here. Welcome back to the West Ham Network. I'm Anton. I'm bringing you today's opposition chat, and we've not just got one, but we've got 2 Liverpool fans joining us this evening. So let me bring them on. Without further ado, I may as well bring on the first one, who will be a regular on the West Ham Network. We all know him, Jack from the Anfield Road TV. Jack, how you doing, my friends? Oh, you're on mute, mate. You are on mute.
Great start. All right.
Right,
massive thank you for having me on, mate. I'm looking forward to tomorrow night's game. It's going to be an absolute cracker.
Absolutely,
2 footballing sides that will play football. Proper football.
Well, listen, what's interesting is, normally we would give out, we give out, what is it they give out when you do a hat-trick appearance, you get a football, etc. But I think you've been on 6 or 7 times, so I don't know if we can necessarily give away 6 or 7 footballs for you. But you're not just joined by yourself, though. We're joined by a good friend of yours, which is actually Kev from Spider LFC. So, Kev, how you doing, mate? Nice to have you on the channel for the first time.
How's it going, dude? Hi, Jack. Long time no see. yeah, it's good. It's good to get on the first time. Do I get a Kit Kat? I'd like to match the ball for like three appearances. Do I get a Kit Kat?
We'll see what happens. We'll see what the result is tomorrow, mate, and then we'll decide if we want to give you something or not. But listen, between you, right? Thank you so much for coming on. And what's interesting is Liverpool and West Ham are fighting out in all competitions. We're both through to the last 16 of the Europa League, which is for West Ham. Listen. I know where the Liverpool have been and what they're used to playing in terms of the Champions League, etc. But it's still a mean feat to be able to get through to the last 16. You're in the Carabao Cup. This is the quarterfinal. This is what we're here to talk about. We've got the FA Cup coming up, and of course, challenging for the Premier League. Now, listen, I'm not saying West Ham are challenging for the Premier League, but we're just nipping under the bottom 6. We're just snitting there, a couple of points off the top 5, and we'll take that just now with our own little budget, although it is quite a big budget. Anyway, over to you, Jack, mate. Quarterfinal of the Carabao Cup. It's a game every couple of days. How are you feeling about it?
I'm looking forward to it, mate. And I think, obviously, we've spoken in the past, mate, haven't we, as as both sets of our fans, like I don't like the way that modern day football is, the snobbery to the Europa League. Even me, I hold my hands up. But I think when you're in cup competitions, you want to be seeing the team win it. Obviously, your lads winning the Europa League conference last year. It meant so much to you. It was made up. Your lads won it, and I think it's going to present both teams with an excellent opportunity of going all the way. Considering the teams that we do find ourselves in, obviously you got Fulham, Everton, Chelsea, Newcastle, and obviously a couple of the smaller teams as well playing tonight. So it's going to be one of them. I'm hoping we get a performance, but as we'll speak about today, and Kev will speak about, the performance level against Manchester United wasn't really quite up to scratch for me.
So Kev, mate, I mean, Carabao Cup in the history of Liverpool, you've won it several times, but where do you take it? How serious on the scale of all the competitions you're in do you take the League Cup?
I mean, we're Liverpool FC. Like, we're not Manchester United. We don't treat it like it's a secondary cup. For me, all major trophy is a major trophy. So I'd like to be in every competition, winning every competition as a supporter. Sometimes it's not viable, if unless you're like the strongest squad in the league. But for me, it's a very serious cup, and I do believe that we'll take it seriously tomorrow night, and as serious as West Ham will. So I don't see any complacency. I don't see any drop off really, and I think it'll be two good teams at a point in time where Liverpool are slightly I wouldn't say a dip because we just had one bad game against Manchester United, but I think Liverpool just got ahead of themselves a little bit in that game, where there was so much expectation from them to score multiple goals that it had a backwards effect, more like reverse psychology kind of thing.
Really?
32 shots on target, or 32 not on target, but 32 shots on goal. So I mean, we peppered it. And Varane had like a record of like 15 or 16 clearances in a game. So that's nuts,
Yeah. And it's crazy because I think, was it a couple of years ago that Liverpool had to field a really young team, compromised fully of academy players because was it the Club World Cup or something, wasn't it, as well? I mean, they crushed, was it
Leicester?
Was it Aston Villa though? Was it not by Aston Villa at the stage? Yeah, was it
no, it was 4 years ago, and surprisingly, the Premier League have helped Manchester City. They've abandoned their fixture for this coming week. So
no way.
Yeah.
I didn't even know we had to play the 2 games in 2 days.
Yeah.
What?
Envelopes help.
Yeah. Not that we're making an accusation, maybe not.
Hearsay.
I'm making an accusation. I'm making an accusation. I live in a different country. I can say what I want.
But I think, and I like that, Kev, like, you said there that you take every cup competition as serious as you possibly can. It's a really good opportunity. I mean, it's the quickest route to winning a competition. We're talking about a final that takes place in February. 2 teams are already in the quarterfinals, so the incentive there to go and play a semi-final in a cup competition can only do wonders for both teams. For us as a West Ham fan, the last 3 years have been such a crazy whirlwind of emotions for a positive mindset as well. Going ahead and winning a cup, and and you'll hear different variations of West Ham fans talk about it was a tin pot cup. And I really am actually that bothered, because to me, it was a reputable European Cup, 2nd year in the row. Roma won it the first year, we'll win it the 2nd year. And what it's done is allowed us to qualify automatically for the Europa League. And now we're in a situation where we've gone top of the league again. We've won 3 group stages, top of the league in a row. That's an achievement for West Ham. I'm a younger West Ham fan compared to my dad, who's witnessed West Ham during the good times of the 60s, 70s, and early 80s. And we've not had that success in recent years. And Jack, and I know you're kind of familiar with a lot of West Ham fans, and you probably hear a lot of them moan about the performances that they're getting, but we're getting results.
Yeah.
And for me, for the first time, getting to a quarter final, I have confidence, because as much as people will slag this next comment off, Moyes has brought us more success in 3 years than I've witnessed in my 40 years of supporting this club.
Yeah.
Which is such an interesting thing, isn't it?
It's going you all had a journey, and I was watching all your shows, lads, as well, and I was made up for you because it is, as you said, mate, it's the footballing journey, and considering the absolute dross that you have had in previous managers at the football club that have taken you down, really, and you see where you are. Of course, every football team wants to improve, but I think David Moyes probably best on the market for the budget and all that. There's always going to be better managers out there, but I think, yeah, like it's cutting off your nose to spite your face, really. Like, if you were to get rid of Moyes, then imagine if you were to get out of the Premier League. You're in a stable position currently. We were speaking just before off air that Forest have just sacked Steve Cooper. That'll probably get them sacked. But I think consistent European football for a club of your size, the infrastructure and everything surrounding it is amazing. Look at Kudos, you look at the great players that he's already brought in for a very good fees as well. It's just about developing the whole West Ham culture in terms of that European experience.
Yeah.
I think the revenue and everything. So everything's looking positive for you, mate. I think just being stable and being in Europe, whether that's once every 3 years, that's still successful for a club of your size as well. Because we know how vicious the Premier League is at this moment in time. You need to spend at least north of 150 odd million just to even get into the top 8.
Sorry about that, lads. You just hit the nail on the head with West Ham, because they don't have the funds to lash out in every window. Right, in that way, you have to think like even your supporters have to think like that at this stage. That competition that gives you that leeway into the Europa League by winning that, it means that it gives you time to develop a team off the pitch, without having to have a proper league side to go. By winning that European Cup, it lashed them straight into the Europa League. At that time, with a weaker squad, it's giving them the money back. It's giving them the emphasis to go forward, the ability now to buy in January with extra funds, the ability to buy in the summer without the pressure too much being on to get that Europa League football last year. So that's where you got your kudos from, and these guys coming in. I know you just have to keep adding to them, and it allows these teams to be, when they're stuck between 8th and 15th, to actually get up into that 6 to 11 spot and keep it solidified all the time, And then that's what these competitions are about.
But it's interesting, though, because West Ham actually have spent quite a lot of money. I mean, £500 million over the last few years for West Ham is a lot of money. We've never been used to that. And we have creeped up when we have spent the money. The issue between the fan base really is, I wouldn't even say it's split. I think there's a minority that's not particularly happy about the style of play. But the style of play is sometimes low block and try and get a result. And I think about the game that West Ham played with Liverpool last year at Anfield, where I think we got beat. Was it 1-0 thanks to Darwin Núñez header, and we missed a penalty with Jared Bowen. And for a while we took the game to Liverpool, and it felt like we were going to get in with a chance. And then suddenly, it's not a snatch and grab from Liverpool. It was a good goal from Darwin Núñez. But for us, it was like, it was so disheartening because we actually went to Anfield, and it's very rare that West Ham would go to Anfield. We're a bit more successful at Anfield the last couple of years than we have been in our lifetime at Anfield. But it's very rare that we go there and actually take the game to you lot. But Kev, over to you, mate. I mean, do you go full strength? Are you going to go full strength? I mean, I know you're saying you take it serious, and I get that, but there are so many games coming up, and the position that you are in the Premier League, and I get but there will be an element of priority. So what happens there?
Oh no, man, I'd go full strength. To be honest with you, I'd take it seriously. I think the game against United alone lets you know that if you give Liverpool a week off, they become complacent, they become lax, they don't get up for games. If we're playing every 3 days with our strongest side, or a rotation of our strongest 15, let's say, which we didn't in that midweek game. We didn't have to, I know, and it was a great opportunity to rest players. But when they came back, some of them weren't really back. So for me, I'd play the strongest 11 in the games that we need them for. And then maybe, because it's great being able to rest players at certain points, but you're talking, we tried to do a little bit of it against Luton Town. That didn't work too well. These kind of games kind of creep up in you. But I'd say play them until you have to replace them. And that's my motto with it now, because it doesn't work out for us when we decide to rest players in the midweek and then leave them alone for the weekend, unless the player is absolutely knackered. Like for me, there's probably one player that needs to be rested, and that'd be Szoboszlai. But I would still, you'd still need him in a game like this. So I think that some of these guys need a rest, but we can't afford to give them a rest at the moment. Just we have to play them into form for Sunday. Or
Yeah,
Saturday,
yeah.
sorry.
Jack,
Yeah.
can you see the gap closing between clubs, like West Ham to Liverpool, like Aston Villa to Liverpool, like Brighton to Liverpool, because we're the quality of player there, the style of coaching, etc.
I'd say yes and no, mate, because I think the prime example at this moment in time is Aston Villa. I think the infrastructure, you look at how Dross Gerrard was playing, like Unai Emery's inherited the exact same squad with one or two additions. I think, and look at Liverpool Football Club as well. Yes, we've spent money, but the fact that we've been able to compete, and the only reason we've been able to compete is Jurgen Klopp. The way he's changed the whole thinking of the football club, the fan base as well. He's educated us. He's showed us not to get too giddy and ahead of ourselves in title runnings. We've learned season on season. This squad is, even when we did win the league, we learned, and we've got a couple of couple of Premier League winners in our squad as well now. So we've got that experience. But I think it all comes down, as I spoke to you over the last couple of years, Anton, the hierarchy of your football club, my football club, the modern day football clubs, they have to have a whole same ideology, really, in terms of thinking, and the structure needs to be strong. The biggest, as it has been for the last 130 years of history of football, is the recruitment. If the recruitment is spot on for your football club and they go in tandem with your manager, you can do absolute bloody wonders. Yeah. But just look at Manchester United. They're an absolute mess on and off the pitch. But I think what West Ham have got really well is the great signs. Kudos, obviously, lad from Ajax as well. Getting the right man and using that Declan Rice money very well. It's not that you've just gone and whacked 100 million on poor players. He's really taken a step back and gone, right, let's be sensible. He's crying out for a striker, Scamacca, Haller as well. But you get that. Once you get that 15, 20 goal striker, I think there's strong foundation blocks already.
I mean, apart from some of the clubs out there, I don't really know if they massively exist, though, to be fair. Do they really? Like the
they are very rare.
Yeah, they are very rare these days, aren't they? But I mean, listen, we do have Jared Bowen over to you, Kev. There's been a strong links to Jared Bowen from Liverpool for a couple of seasons, but he has went ahead and signed a 7-year contract, probably one of the last 7-year contracts you're going to see because of the rule changes in the Premier League. But first and foremost, what's your thoughts on Jared Bowen, mate?
I think Jack mentioned something like this yesterday about him being a West Ham man through and through. To be honest with you, the last ilk of that was their captain that left there a couple of seasons ago. So Noble, and you haven't seen that in quite a while. So it's nice to see that clubs that players are committing to clubs these days, because you don't see it a lot. I would have loved him at Liverpool. I think if Salah ever left, then hopefully we'd be able to get in a player of like Jared Bowen's ilk, or a couple of those players that if one didn't work, the other one would, that kind of way, and that's the luxury that Liverpool would have if we were to sell somebody like Salah. But it's a luxury I can't really afford to want at the moment, because I'm happy with Salah when he's on his game, yeah. And a poor Salah still gets 20 goals a season. So, and that's the difference there. But Jared Bowen, fantastic player, he's gone in for a 7-year contract. Whether that's to make more money for West Ham or that's his loyalty, it'll soon to be seen.
Well, to be honest with you, I think there's a couple of things here. He's cemented his seed in Essex, in London. So I don't know if you're not aware, there's a famous song that goes around about Danny Dyer. So he's partnered up with Danny Dyer's daughter, Danny Dyer, and he's got kids to them as well, and they're avid West Ham fans. It lives and breathes them. So as much as we joke about it, I think there must be an element of going, yeah, you ain't leaving that club, kind of thing. So I think he's definitely, he's came to West Ham and he's had a very successful West Ham career. He's hit 10 Premier League goals, and we haven't even hit 2024 yet in the first part of the season. So the guy's on fire. He's playing as our makeshift striker. David Moyes has a history of moving midfielders into strikers and actually being very successful at it, but he also has a history of buying strikers that don't work. So it's completely crazy dynamics at West Ham. But what it does do is make for a good, exciting cup tie, a quarter-final cup tie at Anfield, and definitely the incentive there to get through to the semi-finals. Now, listen, I think last time out, who did you just beat the last time? The last couple of ties in the
for us, it was obviously we beat Bournemouth 2-1.
Yeah.
That Nunes screamer. Before that, it was obviously Leicester as well.
Leicester, yeah.
So
That's right.
it's
Yeah.
that was, but we've been very fortunate. A couple of home ties, which I think in any cup competition, it's very helpful if you do have a couple of home ties.
Yeah. And I mean, West Ham, we had a tie against Lincoln City. We really struggled actually against Lincoln City, but then turned up and smashed Arsenal at home. And apart from 3 players, they had full strength team out. And by the time they got to the 50th minute, they had all their full strength team out and they couldn't get anywhere near us. And that was the kind of first time West Ham fans really saw Mohamed Kudus. So question over to you guys and to you, Kev, from looking in from an outsider's point of view, who are the players that you fear the most from West Ham?
Well, Kudus is one, is the natural take there. I've always had a problem with Antonio when I see him on a pitch, if he does get the game. Because Bowen is always going to pop.
He does like a game against Liverpool, doesn't he?
He does like to score against Liverpool, yeah. And so I see him on the pitch, and I'm like, it just kind of reminds me of like going against Ivan Toney or Benteke when he used to score against us as well. You know, quite a lot. But I know Kudus is one that we'd have to watch. I just feel that if we win the midfield game, the game is ours, regardless, because our defense has been pretty good this season, very good actually this season, and our midfield is there. It's just our creativity up top that needs to start clicking. It hasn't clicked for a few games, and without Jota being in the team, there's been a lack of goals coming from our strike force. So Nunes needs to step up. Diaz needs to learn how to use his left foot. I wasn't too happy with Gakpo in the last game because I just found him completely selfish when he came on the pitch. So I didn't like that about him. So we need these guys to start stepping up.
So who's the player then, Jack, that we really need to watch out for? You know, you mentioned that Darwin Núñez. I think am I correct in saying it's kind of up and down season with him in general, or his career?
Just a bit, mate. I don't know if you watched my latest video with Kevin. That it's I've been a massive. I love him. I come out the game when we played them in the Champions League knockouts, Benfica, and I was like, we need to sign this, lads. But I think the only person that's going to help Núñez at this moment in time is Núñez himself. We'll back them. We'll back all of our players. I think we've got a rich history of being patient with attacking players. But at the end of the day, he's a big boy. You need to actually start delivering, really. I think his goals and assists, he averages a goal and assist every 2 games, which isn't too bad, really. It's quite remarkable. He's creating well. He's just not really finishing. Putting the most important thing is the ball in the back of the net. But I think with Darwin Núñez, I'd say, yeah, mates. So Buzzley alluded to, Kev alluded to, he started the season off extremely well. He's allowed that Liverpool midfield. Obviously, Kev might mention the midfield, but Liverpool, as we spoke over the previous years, Anton was the engine force. It was always has been the engine force of Liverpool's team. Last year, as neutrals, from a West Ham point of view, you probably looked at Liverpool's midfield and gone, Liverpool weren't at the races, but that was due down to the sheer lack of legs and lack of real quality in the middle of the park. Obviously, McAllister's helped. I don't think he'll be fit for tomorrow night due to a knee injury that he sustained last week. But so Buzzline, mates, really. It's Gravenberch as well, obviously a new signing from Bayern Munich. He's a £100 million player if he can actually stay fit. Similar to Kudus, I think both players very undervalued in terms of the market at the minute. But yeah, I'd say Sabuzlai, mate, to keep an eye on if he does play. But he really needs to step up as well. He can create, but he just offers Liverpool a lot of options. And even Trent in this new inverted role off the back of last season, I think he's really took a lot more responsibility in the Liverpool team. It's helped him massively.
Yeah, I get that. If anyone can hear the kids in the background, it's just normal life. That's just what happens. I mean, they've never been as loud than they have been in the last 5 minutes, so I do apologise. I've had to mute myself while you've been talking, running away, going, stop making noise.
My two are out there banging off the walls. So
honestly, mate, you must have noise cancellation then, because mine is noise cancellation.
I couldn't hear anything, but no, I've got noise cancellation on this. But they can break it.
It's funny though, I mentioned there about, Darwin Núñez. The reason why is because West Ham have a long starch history of allowing a player who's not on form to get on form. And let's just hope West Ham, as a West Ham point of view, when this show does go out, that we can keep him at bay. But I mean, I think there's quite a lot of injuries at Liverpool, isn't there? So it looks like Thiago obviously out, McAllister you mentioned, Andrew Robertson, Jota,
Thiago.
Thiago.
I think we've been quite fortunate though, mate, when you look at like your lads and obviously teams in the Premier League. Obviously, when rival fans do discuss Liverpool, they go, "Oh, you're using injuries as an excuse for your poor form." But when teams have got injuries themselves, it doesn't really fit the narrative, does it? But yeah, I think the big key player that you've named there is Diogo Jota, mate. I think Liverpool have massively missed him in the games that we've dropped points this season. I think he's behind Mohamed Salah. Well, I think he's Liverpool's most natural finisher in between the 6-yard box. And I think if Jota was fully fit, he'd be certainly getting ahead of Darwin Núñez. And obviously he's had a habit in recent seasons in the cup competitions. Obviously him attacking Minamino, obviously attacking no longer at the club, but he's had a habit of grabbing the game by the scruff of the neck and really putting Liverpool into finals, mate. So yeah, hopefully we can get him back full fitness.
Kev, shall we call this the Danny Ings derby?
Yeah, you can do if you want. But you could call that to about another 8 different clubs at the same time. But so Danny Ings was a great story. Danny Ings was very, very unlucky at Liverpool. Very, very unlucky at Liverpool. He came prime from Burnley, came in, hit the ground running, a goal against Everton, and then the following game he was gone, and he was gone for 2 years. So I feel for the lad, man, because he would have had he suited Klopp's style. Klopp wanted him. He suited what Klopp wanted to do with a runner, for kind of opposite to what Bobby does, but similar in a way of being able to hold up the ball. So he wanted somebody like that, and we found that out as soon as Danny Ings got fit and he played against us. He scored. I think he was at Southampton at the time, but fantastic player. He always got the head down. Nobody had a bad word to say about him within the Liverpool squad or even in the fan base. We just found that he was probably one of the most unluckiest players to ever play for Liverpool. But look, if he comes back on, he'll always get a clap at Anfield. So if he does, I'll be there at the game myself. So will you, Jack? So I'll definitely clap for him when he comes on, if he comes on anyway.
I think with the Danny Ings kind of debate with West Ham fans is that we've got a young lad called Divine Mubama who's smashing it in the youth setup at West Ham, and he's featured quite a few times in the Premier League as a sub and also in the Europa League, and he's been really responsible for 2 really important goals, but they were chopped off because they took tiny deflections. They were going, we felt like they were kind of on target, but I think it was the definition between a player, the ball looked like it was maybe just going wide or maybe just going in, and they gave it to the defender. So he's actually still not got his goal yet. But as West Ham fans who've got a proud history of our youth, we want the youth to keep coming through, and Divine Mubama definitely has got what it looks like to try and make it in the kind of higher leagues. And what we have is Danny Ings that doesn't really tend to work under a David Moyes system, which is we need a player who's going to run the flanks, who's going to drop in deep, work hard, and still has the legs. But unfortunately, and it's a shame, because he has paid quite a lot of money at the club. He's our second highest earner at the club. And you think about, with all due respect of Danny Ings compared to what you get back for Kudus, what you get for Alvarez, what you get from other players, it's a shame. But there's a link of him heading back to Southampton in January, and I think West Ham fans would shake his hand and say thank you for some of the memories. You gave us some important goals last year in the Premier League, but it's definitely time to move on. So for me personally, I don't really want to see him start. I wouldn't be, if I saw a team with West Ham and Danny Ings in it, with all due respect, I would feel quite negative about the game.
Is he on loan?
No, he's a permanent signing. Yeah, he's a permanent
Would you not, if West Ham need a striker, would you not do everything in your power to kind of send him one way with cash for Ivan Toney?
Yeah, but I don't think we'd get Ivan Toney. I think he'll go somewhere else. I think eventually when he does come back, I think it might be destination Arsenal. There's been rumours about that, hasn't there? Yeah, there's been rumours about that sort of stuff. But listen, I think West Ham will go pretty strong. You're saying Liverpool will probably go pretty strong for the game, which will make for a very, very good tie indeed. So without further ado, over to you, Jackie boy. What is your score prediction? Who's getting through to the semi-finals? And it doesn't matter, you're on a West Ham channel, mate.
No,
just tell us how you feel.
It's just going to be off the back of this week's Park the Bus on 6. I don't expect that from your lads. He's a proper footballing side, unlike a team down the motorway. Anyway, I expect it to go to penalties. I'll go 2-2. I think both sides will be wanting to win. I think in recent seasons, and obviously off the back of that United performance, I think Liverpool can be, as we have been in the last couple of years, perceptible on the counter attack. We do allow space for the opposition, and especially if Jared Bowen is, as we see in when he played Tottenham anyway, straight down the middle, caused, and even when he played Manchester City last year as well, he's deadly and in those half spaces. So yeah, I go 2-2, mate. Liverpool win on penalties. But I think there will be a lot of goals tomorrow, mate. But
Kev, same question over to you, mate. No pressure.
He's thinking about it.
No, I couldn't hear you for a second. My headset went off. My bad. How was it going? No, listen. My score will be. Oh God. You know, if it depends on how strong we start. If we start strong, like, but there's always a goal in Jared Bowen, or if Antonio. I don't even know if Antonio's fit.
No,
I mean, he won't be. So Bowen, there's always a goal in there or a creation chance from him in there. I was at the game earlier a few weeks ago with the Liverpool West Ham, and you know Curtis Jones was brilliant that day. And his day, Nunez was great. Salah played well. Szoboszlai played well. So it's a cup game as well. It's at night time under the lights at Anfield. You know, if this was at West Ham, I'd be saying, yeah, penalties written all over it. If it's the same Liverpool that turned up against Manchester United the other day, it could have penalties written all over it. But if the Liverpool turn up that we know has turned up for the last few weeks and can get a win across the board, I'd say 3-1 Liverpool.
It's fine. I respect that to a certain point. To be honest with you, you know, watching West Ham the way we have, especially this year. Last year, we went through a season of not conceding many goals. We held our own in terms of not conceding. We just couldn't score. But we flipped that completely dramatically and we score, but now we concede. And it's all about outscoring the opposition, really is how West Ham do it. And when you look at our forward options, you know, you've got Ward-Prowse, who's now one of the highest creators in the Premier League and in European football. You've got Kudus, you've got Jared Bowen, and you've got Paqueta, who feed off of all that creative play at West Ham. So I feel confident enough thinking we'll score, but it's about trying to keep your forward line and your creativity at bay, which is going to be a tough job. So I'm starting to feel like Desmond, 2 each, is probably a good shout, to be honest. I think we'll always struggle under the lights at Anfield, especially midweek. But I think that would be a decent result. But then penalties, as we all know, 50-50 can go anyway, can't they? So, but it's definitely a huge tie to get into the semi-finals, especially, you know, me as a West Ham fan. I mean, 40 years and only seen us win one trophy. And it's the best feeling I've ever had in my life, and I would love to have that again.
And Anton and West Ham fans, don't let people tell you that it's not a trophy. It's a
trophy. No, mate. Jack, there's some West Ham fans that say it. There's some West Ham fans that say it, mate.
There's some clubs in London that haven't won a trophy in a bar, and we know those clubs.
Ever? Oh, no, not ever, but you know what I mean. Yeah, no, I get that 100%.
Feels like ever.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, Jack, mate, from Anfield Road TV, go and check it out. Hit the subscribe button if you're interested in listening to some Liverpool content. Kev from Spider LFC, go and check out his YouTube channel as well. Thank you so much for coming on the channel. And massively appreciate your time. Sorry about the background noise with all the kids, but it's just part and parcel of life, and that's what we do. We bring you the content.
I didn't hear anything. Yeah, I didn't hear anything.
I kept muting it and I kept running away, and I kept putting you on the screen. I was like, anyway, listen, thank you very much, everyone. If you are new around here, then please hit the subscribe button. If you're interested in becoming a channel member, hit the option to join on our membership for exclusive content. Of course, as well, hit the thumbs up, leave a comment, and if you are interested in entering the football prizes competition, then click on the link which is going to be in the comments and get yourself entered for this prize. The competition does end on Tuesday the 26th of December, Boxing Day at 7:30 p.m, and the prizes will be announced the following Friday live on their Facebook as well. Anyway, from me, Jack, and Kev, take it easy, and of course, come on, you Irons.